Hey, are you a nutpucker? Would you like to be one? Do you want to know what it is? Well, a nutpucker is someone who loves NutPucks. And NutPucks are my go-to recipe when I want a nice little sweet kind of chocolatey hit, but I don't want anything that's going to spike my blood sugar or trigger that sugar addiction that I'm trying to avoid. These are delicious, they're nourishing, and what we find most people say when they have them is 1 or 2 is plenty to satisfy that sweet itch and doesn't trigger sugar cravings. While I'm getting my recipe ingredients all done, I put a pot of water on to boil, just a little bit, and put a stainless steel bowl over it for a bain-marie effect, which is going to melt my cold pressed coconut oil. So that means coconut oil that hasn't been heat treated. Then I wait until that is melted and I add my cacao, raw cacao powder, 1 cup, and then I put in 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. And that's just enough to cut the bitterness of the cacao and give it just a lovely little sweetness that's not going to spike your blood sugar or cause you to have full-on sugar addiction triggering. And then I pour just enough to cover the bottom of a silicone mold. And I love these little silicone molds. You can get them from baking stores and online. They're super easy to find, and you just put a little bit in the bottom to cover, not too much because you've got 2 more layers to go on top of this. And then I pop that in the freezer for about 5 minutes. And then once it's firm to the touch, you can see that, I then take my dough and put it on top. So to make the dough, I use ½ cup of almond butter, and then I add a combination of maca and lucuma powders, and sometimes I put in mesquite, and then a tablespoon of maple syrup. And then I add a generous pinch of sea salt. It gives it that kind of nutty, saltiness that we love in a nut butter cup. And start to mix it together into what quickly forms a dough. So your dough should come together fairly firmly, but not too crumbly. So if it is a bit too crumbly, just add a little bit more almond butter so it comes together to form a dough and doesn't break apart too much. Now we're going to roll our dough. So you take the ball that's formed, and here we've got Andy forming the dough in the baking sheet. And this is particularly helpful if, say, you just have the right amount of almond butter and it's still a little bit crumbly. This will be really useful for bringing it all together. And basically what you're looking for is creating a long log, right? That's not going to fall apart on you. And then what you can do is, once you get it into that log form, is you're going to slice it. So I like to slice it into sections, and then I form it into little patties that fit into the tray. So you can just kind of roll it in your hand into a ball and then flatten it out and press it into your mold to kind of fit the tray. What you want to do is leave it so the sides, chocolate can get down the sides, so then you don't have like a sandwich effect. It's actually enclosed. And so you want to leave room around the edges, so when you pour the chocolate on top, it actually oozes around the sides and forms a seal for your nut butter. So pop it back into the freezer 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how cold your freezer is. And once out of the freezer, you'll see how easily they pop out of the silicone molds. That's the beauty of those. So there you go. These are the NutPucks. Now you'll have a stockpile of something that's chocolatey, sweet, and delicious, that isn't going to spike your blood sugar, send you into sugar addiction, but will actually satiate you and help you stay on your path to sweet freedom. So for more recipes like this that help you curb sugar cravings healthy and naturally, check out our 21-day sugar-free challenge by clicking the link below.